Hey y'all, it's April the 7th, 2017, and you probably already know, you should already know. I'm diving in. I want to get to the bottom of specifically a specific problem. There was missiles launched and certain words being said concerning Syria, the conflict in Syria, right? And you might already understand that people are scrambling for evidence to see, just like I said, I mean, what I mentioned last night, they want to see who is it that was gassing these Syrian people, because there's a lot of people out there who feel like we don't exactly know, or maybe we have a hunch who's doing. Like a lot of people do have a hunch that it was Al Qaeda and Al Nusra, ISIS, whatever you want to call them. A lot of people think that that's the case, and if that was the case, well, certainly it's going to be disastrous for Donald Trump. Certainly, right? And I would be a very big proponent of that, to be honest with you. I felt like ever since the first time that we kept our noses out of serious business, ever since that time that we put down, we let it be heard that we don't want to go to war with Syria. Ever since then, I've pretty much stayed on the bandwagon of, you know what, bad things happen. Here's the thing about it, and everybody has to acknowledge this. You have to understand, you live in America, that's a pretty fortunate place that you're living in. Most of the world, in lots of parts of this world, this big world that we're living in, a lot of bad stuff happens, and it's terrible, and I don't agree with any of it, and I wish there was none of it. America, there's no way that the United States of America could stop all these bad things from happening, especially since in America, the United States of America, there are already a lot of bad things happening to us. There ain't no way that we could possibly do it. So, I mean, I do want to go over this point because there's a lot of people out there who weren't really big fans of Donald Trump, and probably still aren't, but still, for some reason, they've seen pictures of little babies. They've seen pictures of ladies and men all chemical warfared up. All right, they've seen pictures of it and it hurt their heart. They gotta understand they're being spoon fed these pictures regardless. They wouldn't even have known this happened unless the media wanted them to know, and the media did want them to know. They wanted to know all about it. They wanted them to get very emotional, right? And that is fact. There's a lot of people out here talking very emotionally. At the same time, who knows who gassed all these civilians? Now, the thing is, the theory that you got John Kerry's and John McCain spitting out, the theory is that Assad is the one that gassed his people. I need for everybody, because we need to keep it simple. Uh, I need for everybody to think about this. All right, let's assume Assad gassed his own people. You have to ask yourself this question: when in the world has that ever happened? When in the world has it ever happened? Because you gotta understand, who is he gassing? His own people? Eh, Is there like some sort of category that these people fit in besides rebel? Because I know a lot of people are describing everybody who doesn't like Assad as rebels. I mean, if you're gonna do that, you'd have to describe everybody who doesn't like Donald Trump as rebels. Everybody who doesn't like Hillary Clinton and all the rest, you got to describe them as rebels. But nobody does. However, you talk about Syria in a very shallow context. All these people are like, "Oh, the rebels. We gotta help the rebels," and they get Assad out. Who is Assad? Okay, because you're assuming that Assad gassed his own people. Who was? Because it's going to be evident. You're going to find out very quickly who Assad was gassing and why. And in fact, if Assad done it, he would tell you why, especially if he believed he had some sort of good reason. Because he already knows there's no way he could get away with this. He already has to know that there's no way he could have gotten away with doing this. Now, who is he gassing? That's a very important question. All right, let's think back to the Holocaust, because everybody's taught that in their public schools. I understand this has happened a lot throughout history. I'm talking about genocide, lots of it. All right, so let's think about the Holocaust, right? Because everybody seems to remember that. All right, Hitler, according to the story, among other people, Hitler was gassing Jews, a certain category of people, according to the story. A certain category. That's who he was gassing. So, with that in mind, I want to ask you this question: who is Assad gassing? Anybody? Random whole towns filled with anybody? Who was he gassing? Because that's a very important question, right? It should all fall into place, and it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. Why would he gas whole towns of people that have all sort of different people that must think all sort of different ways? You would attack a certain group of people because that's the only way you'd get away with it. You gotta understand, in a country, if you're a dictator and you decide to attack certain people, you gotta basically convince all the rest of the people to help you do it. You have to. That is the rules, because if you don't convince the rest of the population of your country that we should all attack these specific people, if you don't do that, it's not going to happen. And the people won't let you do it. It's basically impossible if you want to think about it that way. All right, because you will get taken out of power, and then someone else will take power, and they might point out a specific people to attack if they want to do that for some reason in their country. If they want to stifle competition, all right, they might attack a certain group of people. They might convince the rest of the country to let them do it, let at least acquiesce to the whole agenda. They'll have to do it. So the question remains for everybody who's getting all teary-eyed from the pictures that you've been spoon-fed on your televisions, right? For everybody who's like, oh, we gotta help the children, oh, we gotta help the babies, you have to understand that the fact is, children and babies are not only murdered all around the world in heinous ways, they're murdered in this country before they're born. A lot of them. Talk about millions of them. Right? So for all people out there thinking certain kind of ways, feeling certain kind of ways, who are thinking, oh, hey, I don't like Donald Trump, but I think it's good that he went ahead and sent 50 missiles over there in Syria and stuff. I think that's good because somehow chemical attacks will be resolved by bombing missiles and stuff. For all the people who are getting on the Trump bandwagon talking about, yeah, we should be sending missiles at Assad, this person we barely know, we barely hardly know his name. For all those people, you had to ask yourself, and they won't ask themselves, I understand that they will not ask themselves this question: who is Assad chemical warfaring? Who is he doing it to? There's not an answer to that question. And as time goes on, we're going to realize ain't no answer to that question. If Assad hypothetically was doing this to his country and its people, it seems as though uh, his actions are making zero sense, and his agenda is making no sense. If his whole agenda was to chemical warfare certain towns until all the towns fell in line, if that was his agenda, it's not going to work. It's only a matter of time before he gets taken out anyways. So why in the world would the United States of America come and meddle with something that's going to happen organically? Thing is, people are getting emotional, and they're made to do so. They're seeing these pictures on TV. They're not asking themselves the question, well, is it possible that somebody else done this? Because you got to understand, as far as motivation goes, it's really kind of weird because it's kind of weird because the ISIS and the Al Qaeda have much more motivation to get this done. You know what I'm saying? You ask yourself, okay, who would ISIS, who would Al Qaeda, who would they be gassing if hypothetically they were the ones doing it? Who would they be gassing? Well, I got an answer for you: the Syrian people. They don't give a fuck. They're trying to take over Syria. Why would they care? Of course they would attack the Syrian people. Yeah. Of course that would be their motivation, alright? But the thing is, maybe it's not that simple. We do have to get to the bottom of everything. We do need to get the evidence. We sincerely need the evidence when we get the evidence, right? It's a good chance Donald Trump's going down. And the thing is, I wouldn't really even care to. If Donald Trump was wrong about it, this whole thing is going on, if he was wrong, I'd want him out too. But here's another thing that y'all got to think about, because I hate to have to break this to you, but I'm going to break it to you. Uh, If Donald Trump were to be impeached over this matter of being wrong in Syria, meanwhile McCain's backing him, meanwhile I think Hillary's backing him at this point, meanwhile John Kerry's backing him, and all sort of people are backing him on the television. Which already can show you that he's not going to be impeached, because now people are liking what he does, right? They're liking being dragged into wars, which is what's going to happen here. To some extent, it obviously is going to happen, right? It is a matter of time, right? So if Donald Trump were to get impeached, and the likelihood of that is not good at all, if people on television and people in the government are agreeing with him, the likelihood is not going to happen. But the thing is, if it were to happen hypothetically, here's what I'm going to tell you right now. Hypothetically, if it were going to happen, you ain't going to see Hillary getting that office. Right? And the thing is, I would hate to see it happen, but I'm here to tell you just the plain and simple truth. You would not see Hillary enter that office. You wouldn't see a man burning enter that office. All right? I understand, people would keep it simple. If people in the government are really trying to play you, such as a Donald Trump, if that's what's going on, who you're getting for president. You know who you're getting? Yeah, you got it, Mike Pence. That's who you're getting for president, baby. And the thing is, I can't say that I would like that necessarily, and I don't know that you would like that necessarily. So for everybody who thinks they got political opinions out here, you can have all the political opinions you want. I have mine too. Mike Pence would be your president, baby. I hope you feel good about that. Alright, so that's what you're talking about when you say it, impeaching Donald Trump to begin with. And this whole situation's gone Looney Tunes, right? The whole situation that I just spoke of, complete and total utter twilight zone. We shouldn't even be in Syria. And that's the lesson that the Bible teaches us, and it's one of those lessons that's hard to learn for a lot of people. Some people find it impossible to learn. But the truth is, all throughout history, since the very first history book, bad things have been happening over in countries. Guess what? We can't stop them. In fact, you know what? A lot of these countries are filled up with savage barbarians, dude. Somehow they keep making babies. I don't know how they do it. We're not going to stop them, you understand? We should keep out of Syria and not have nothing to do with it, dude. If Assad theoretically wanted to gas all his people until the whole country was completely gassed, let them do it. You know what I'm saying? Well, how would it be any of our business? Oh, we're the big bad people who are supposed to patrol the whole entire world. They make it almost seem like USA is supposed to stand in place of Jesus, and it's not never going to happen, alright? It's not even possible. A lot of people don't read the Bible out there, you guys. It's April the 7th, 2017. You better understand that I'm going to keep on this Syria thing. So, you know what I'm saying? If you want to keep up with Syria thing, just subscribe to my channel, and holler at me, and I'll holler at y'all. Anyways, April 7th, 2017.